You obviously missed the most important game of the year, the most important game of the last a few years, but I'll let it slide.
I'll play it soon.
Because I'm not obsessed. I swear I'm not obsessed. Dude, you better fucking do it. Or I'm gonna mail for every month that you do not play Signalis. I will mail you a copy of Signalis until your lawn overflows.
All right. All right. Well, we got one more. Let's go faster. Because there's less games.
See the super secret one? What's going on?
Soulsborne games, baby. I told you.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, it's
I totally forgot.
It's all the FromSoftware Soulsborne games, from Demon Souls to Elden Ring, plus the Demon Souls remake and Kingsfield. I am gonna try to ramble these off a little quicker because I don't want to keep you up too late, even though you're a night owl. And we have been doing.
I am indeed.
Damn, we've been doing this for over an hour and a half at this point. All right, but I'm not completely going in release order. Even though it's partially in release.
Okay.
I'm saving Demon Souls for later in, because I'm going for, at least in terms of the core FromSoft modern Soulsborne things, the order that I played them in.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Right.
Cool.
So, because I played Demon Souls shortly after it came out, and then I dropped it after playing it for an hour.
PS3?
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
PS3.
Yeah.
I then, on a whim, a couple years later, got Dark Souls at launch, despite going why am I buying this? I didn't like Demon Souls. And then sure enough... Sure enough, I didn't like Dark Souls either when I first played it. I think
really?
I think it took me 12 to 15 hours to get to the Bell Gargoyles, and I just was not having a fun time.
Yeah.
And at one point,
for sure.
I even rage quit the game. I just shut my console off. And it corrupted my save file because it happened to be in the process of saving, so I had to start over my entire playthrough again.
Oof.
However, unlike with Demon Souls, I said I am not going to let this game beat me. I'm not letting it beat me. I'm going to hate playing this game, and I'm going to beat it.
I feel like that is literally the gateway drug to Soulsborne games. It's fuck this game, I'm going to beat it,
Yeah, and sure enough, about, I don't know, maybe a quarter to halfway through my playthrough, everything just clicked, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah, right.
So this is my first Soulsborne game that I played from start to finish, and it gets an S tier. It has some minor issues in regards to it being the first Dark Souls. The formula hadn't been refined. Has some issues with the multiplayer shit. But ultimately, I love that experience, and I wish I could re-experience that first playthrough again. Because that's one of the things too that I personally feel is even though first time playthrough of any Soulsborne game, there's a lot you don't know, but you've already seen what they're capable of, so it's not quite like your very first Soulsborne game. So no matter what, on every first playthrough of each subsequent game, it's not the same,
Yeah.
Right.
Souls was also my first.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah, it was quite a fucking experience.
So next up is Dark Souls 2, which I also got on release. I like that it is mostly unconnected to Dark Souls 1, right? I like that it's mostly unconnected to that, or it's doing its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really quite as engaged with the story as Dark Souls 1, but I appreciate it that it did its own thing. For me, it just feels like a lot of the mechanics in Dark Souls 2 felt sloppier, and the game felt more artificially difficult as opposed to legitimately challenging.
I've heard this a lot. Yeah, I've never played Souls 2, and I've heard that it's fine that I haven't. But
yeah, I do think it's worth going through at one point, but there is one thing that I finally pinpointed, because I've been going through Dark Souls 2 on stream. I didn't include it into the Back to Ghoul list because I haven't beaten it on stream yet. Plus, also, I wanted to do this Soulsborne tier list, so I wanted to talk about it here.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really kind of pinpointed, and maybe this is super well known, because I haven't really played that much of Dark Souls 2, comparatively, but I always felt like the lock-on was off, and like the character would fuck up and attack in the wrong direction a lot. And I finally pinpointed it, and I at least compared it to Dark Souls 1, and I don't think this occurs in any of the other Souls games, but in at least Dark Souls 1, when you are locked onto an enemy, you will always attack in the direction of the enemy you're locked onto. In Dark Souls 2, you attack in the direction you're holding the left analog stick. No, not the way you're facing. The way you're holding the left analog stick. So you're facing the enemy, and let's say you're backpedaling because it's a tough ass enemy, but you want to attack him to get some distance in. In Dark Souls 1, you'll straight up attack the enemy that's in front of you, unless of course he dodges. In Dark Souls 2, you will literally attack behind you, completely in the wrong direction, which is a good way to get yourself killed. You basically have to stop moving before attacking. And I don't know why the devs chose to do that. Maybe it's because this is also the only core Soulsborne game that wasn't directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, right? Because he was busy doing Bloodborne all the time.
Right.
It was a different team.
Ooh, there's that going.
So I don't know if like they just were unsure of themselves or they wanted to make the game harder, but it just feels sloppy and it feels bad. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's still a solid enough game, I think. I don't hate it. I'm not in love with it, but I think ultimately it's a good game. Just the weakest of the trilogy, so I'd give it a B.
Okay.
Next up is Bloodborne.
My sweet, my precious, my baby.
I won't bury the lead. It's an S tier.
Fucking goddamn right.
What I will say though is I actually preferred Dark Souls 1 to Bloodborne, which feels wrong since I like the more horror aesthetic of Bloodborne, like gothic horror, cosmic horror, everything like that.
It goes a long way.
I'm 100% willing to think that it's because Dark Souls 1 was my first Souls game. So it has that nostalgia factor, that magic of the first playthrough. Bloodborne also had more bosses that pissed me off than Dark Souls 1. Mainly once you like dicking around in the Chalice dungeons and stuff like that. And also
totally.
Bloodborne is...
I don't know though. Yeah, go ahead. Please, go ahead.
As much as I like Bloodborne, I do think a lot of the cracks in the basic FromSoft formula and like gameplay mechanics started to show here. Namely in regards... Because like... a lot... like there's systemic problems across every single Soulsborne game that is kind of the same. Namely, lock-on can be a bit wonky when there's tons of enemies. And hitboxes take the piss. But it's a little more manageable in Dark Souls 1 because every enemy is usually much slower. I would say the same thing with Dark Souls 2, except for the hitboxes in that game take the biggest piss, and I already described that the lock-on is kind of completely busted.
Yeah.
But from
Bloodborne is a faster game than both of those.
Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, Elden Ring, they're all faster. So the cracks kind of... And they really haven't done a lot to improve their lock-on system. They really haven't done a lot to improve their hitboxes. So there's still, like, kind of issues that piss me off sometimes. I love Bloodborne, and I want to see it. I want to see it get a 60 frames patch and a PC port. But I will say, at least for me, at least in terms of raw mechanics, this is where things started to kind of crack for me a little bit. Not enough to make me go. Fuck these games, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't have the same like hawk-eyed like QA tester like eye and thumb that you do. So like, I guess I don't really clock those things as much as you would. I will say Bloodborne feels like the most forgiving in the series, and
It's really forgiving
maybe
in a
it's
lot
the
of
way that you
instances.
can like regain life.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
I
the
like
dodge because I was like Loki. The Bloodborne dodge is like
it's
OP.
super
It's
fast and it's
crazy. It's
super fast.
crazy.
It's super fluid. The health regain mechanic is pretty great. Um,
Yeah,
I
like that game didn't really piss me off the way it pissed off some of the other people.
yeah,
But full disclosure, like I'm definitely not the kind of person who gets mad at games or
yeah.
whatever.
There's only a couple bosses in the game, a couple encounters in the entirety of Bloodborne that infuriate me. But like it's a really solid
Orphan or what?
game. No, Orphan's fine actually. I've never really had too much of a problem with Orphan.
Okay, yeah,
It's specifically Rom the Spider, because he has fucking
yeah,
mobs, and the mobs hit hard.
dude.
And if
The
you have,
spooners are after you.
if in my opinion, personally, my preference, I hate boss fights with mobs. I've come to that conclusion. I know why some devs do it. In some instances, it's to like drop the player resources and shit like that. But generally,
or just for the drama, man.
Yeah, well,
like Rom was like dramatic. That shit was like dope for me.
I don't mind fighting multiple bosses simultaneously. However, like Ornstein and Smo in Dark Souls 1, or like the forest bros in Bloodborne, where you're fighting like those three assholes. I forgot their names.
Yeah, dude. It's a fun fight though for sure.
But Rom I fucking hated, and the other boss that I probably hate more, although on more recent playthroughs after I've looked into it more and gotten a lot better at the game, he's not nearly as bad, but I still have that trauma from that first playthrough. Is Watchdog of the Old Lords from the Defiled Chalice.
Oh yeah, dude.
The Defiled Chalice is dog shit. And that boss in the Defiled Chalice is even more dog shit. I call him Hot Dog 2.0, and he is my least favorite boss in Bloodborne. He's a piece of shit.
Okay.
I hate him, but ultimately, solid game. Oh fuck, I forgot. Did I ask Reactbot what about Dark Souls 1?
I don't know if you did.
Fuck it. Dark
Let's
Souls.
Let's ask him again.
Talk about a twist ending.
Yeah, it is kind of a twist ending.
I don't know what you meant by that, but okay.
Yeah. What about Dark Souls 2?
That's gonna leave a mark.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
What do you think about Bloodborne?
Ooh, that's a Freudian slip.
Oh, I don't know what you mean by that.
I think he meant because Bloodborne is about periods.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay. So next up is Dark Souls 3. Have you played Dark Souls 3?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Hell yeah. 3 is the one that I've got the most most hours in. Yeah.
It gets an A from me.
I feel that.
It's part of the reason why I'm not as keen on it is because it borrows the speed of like Bloodborne's combat, and at least for me, because in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, I usually kind of go like for a more tankier build and I like heavier weapons. And at least for me, I feel it's less viable in Dark Souls 3. That's just my own personal failure as a human being. And
I wouldn't even know because I never do tanky shit.
And my
it's all decks all day.
Hey, there you go. My other kind of criticism is like, while I didn't vibe with Dark Souls 2 story as much, I appreciated how it was mostly disconnected and did its own thing compared to Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
Whereas Dark Souls 3 felt much more nostalgia baity, self-referential. Like there's so much stuff that is just like, hey, this is from Dark Souls 1. It's like it's neat and it has its neat ideas, but just it didn't. It's a little not quite as great for me. But it's still a great game. I like it a lot. It's just it's not Dark Souls 1 or Bloodborne. Reactbot, what do you think about Dark Souls 3?
This is giving me goose pimples.
All right, well, that's okay. All right. All right.
Okay.
All right, okay. So the next up is Demon Souls. Now,
Yeah.
I put it here because I played Demon Souls to completion for the first time in December 2017, so almost 10 years after it came out. It had been sitting on my shelf for like that entire time. Because like I said, I bought Demon Souls like a couple months after it came out because everybody was saying how good it was. Played it a little bit, fucking hated the game. Danny was like, hey, I could help you out in multiplayer. So we tried to do multiplayer, and it, because the way the multiplayer works, you can't like play with each other all that easily. So we couldn't do that. So I just gave up on Demon Souls. And then I went through all the other games, and I kept meaning to go back and revisit Demon Souls to give it another shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm a veteran now. But it always kind of intimidated me.
He says he's a veteran, but look at the next game. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
And I wanted to like give it a go, but it like always kind of intimidated me. Anyways, I finally sat down.
Yeah.
And I sat down and played it to completion. And the reason why I put here as opposed to first is to really hammer home the order that I played these games. Because okay. Demon Souls is my goat.
Oh, no way.
The original Demon Souls.
Yeah. Wow.
It is.
Okay.
It is like objectively, it is a much jankier game, and it has a lot weirder, stupider.
It looks
systems.
like
sure. the world tendency stuff is kind of really annoying and dumb. And the character tendency stuff is kind of annoying and dumb.
What do you mean, world tendency?
Oh, okay, so you don't know. So basically, the way Demon Souls functions is, think Mario 64, because there's a hub area, and then you warp to a stage, and each you warp to an area, and each area has like a handful of stages that you can complete. And the tendency, the state of that level will change based off of certain actions that you do in-game. It will shift between white world tendency and black world tendency. White world tendency makes the game easier. Enemies deal less damage, they have less health, but the rewards are shittier. Like the amount of souls you get, the random drops, all that fun stuff. Black world tendency, game is much harder, or the area is much harder. Enemies do a lot more damage, they take a lot more damage, but the rewards are better. This tendency shifts. It shifts to white every single time you kill a greater demon, so like one of the bosses, or specific sub-bosses, or if you kill a black phantom. It shifts to black when you die in body form, or if you kill a human NPC in that area.
Okay.
Right. So it is a little stupid, the fact that if you actually play in body form and you die, the game gets harder, which is really silly and dumb, but whatever. But there's also like certain events that are tied to the tendency system. So like if you want to experience everything the game has to offer, you got to shift everything to pure white and everything to pure black and etc., whatever. But despite
racist ass game,
despite the jank and the weird mechanics that were dropped and all the bugs that are super player favoring, because this game is buggy as shit, right?
Yeah.
This game has so much broken ass shit in it. Like everybody complains about how broken magic is in like the later games. It is busted in Demon Souls. You are an unstoppable beast if you stack shit up right. Yeah, it's nonsense. And I prefer ultimately like the interconnectivity of like the later Souls games. But the thing that Demon's Souls does is its atmosphere. For me, it's unparalleled.
Okay.
Its atmosphere
Really?
is thick and palpable. I like the other games have great atmosphere. Don't get me wrong, but just something about it clicks with me more. I don't know why.
Are you talking about more like the visual and the sounds, or like
some of that is
world
visual.
building, or like,
Some of that is visual.
Okay.
Some of it is sounds. It actually has my favorite area in any single Soulsborne game, and that's Tower of Latria, the first area. The first area of Tower of Latria. I think it's a great game, despite it being like a early-ish PS3 game. No, not too early. I think it was 2009. So it was like 3 years into the PS3. It does show its age visually, but if you're fine with that, I think the lighting is great. The music choices are good. Voice acting is great. It has probably my favorite narrative and like the most easier to follow narrative of all the Soulsborne games. It also has some of the more emotional moments for me that just hit me, like the small character sub-stories and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to spoil it, but like one of my favorite is Oscar of Astora, I believe is his name, or Estraya. He's like this knight that you meet in the Bulletarian Palace. He's an NPC that you keep running into there. And his whole gimmick is he's actually the son of the king of Bulletaria, right? So the son of the king of the land.
Right.
And he's been away for a while, and there's been rumors going around that this horrible deep fog and all this shit has been caused by his father. And even though he is not a warrior, and he's a coward, and he has no real combat skill, he has gone into the fog and is trying to make it to the central palace just to know and prove to himself that his father was not responsible. And that just, I like that a lot.
That sounds
kind of like
cool.
super inept coward, but he's just braving these horrors because he's like, no, I gotta know that my dad wasn't responsible for this shit, right? There's also it's also
a good emotional draw for sure.
It also has like a really solid backstory for one of the bosses that you fight that makes things morally gray. Where you have one of the bosses is fuck, what the fuck is their name? I can't remember off the top of my head because it's late and I've had fucking boozing. Maiden Estraya. There we go. She's the final boss of the Valley of Defilement, aka the Poison Swamp level. And she's like this pure-hearted nun, saintly type character, right? She's like a saint. And she, before like all the crazy demonic shit started, she heard about the horrors of the Valley of Defilement and wanted to go there to investigate to see what she could do to help. And she went there and saw the plight that the people who live there are, because the Valley of Defilement is basically the place where like everybody in the kingdom dumps their trash. Aborted babies go there. You have people who are like wearing like trying to like wear plague masks filled with like herbs to mask out the stench. It's like everything is there, and her faith in worldview is completely
grim, dark shit.
Shattered. Completely fucking shattered. So when the fog and demons start coming up, she becomes a demon to get souls to treat and help the inhabitants of the Valley of Defilement. So she's doing terrible, heinous, evil shit to other innocent civilians and killing them for their souls.
For the good of her
just
own.
so they can help these people that she does not know.
Yeah.
But you still have to kill her, and it's an interesting moral dilemma that I don't think really any of the other bosses throughout this entire thing come close to.
Yeah.
And I like it. Yeah, as Cam said, it has more story than a lot of the later ones, and it's much more
That's
narratively
cool.
coherent and everything like that. It's
I didn't know that.
really solid. I like it. It's got a lot of jank to it, but it's my personal
Honestly,
favorite.
dude, like the way that the Soulsborne like franchise like relies on its like slow faucet drip of world build, like the like very slow way that you're fed the story, like as much as that helps, it also does kind of hurt it, because how many people who play a FromSoft game like don't know what's going on until after they beat the game, and also after they beat the game and they watched a YouTube vid on it, you know.
I've heard a lot of people say like there's not even a story. It's like there is. It's just
yeah. There's always a story, and like it's usually fucking great, but like I do feel like there is the like learning curve or whatever. That's not the right phrase, but like it's just like kind of hard to like get the like story, and like a lot of people aren't gonna care anyway. Yeah.
But I mostly wanted to save Demon Souls for this point to really hammer home the fact that it's my GOAT, and there's no nostalgia behind it, because of the games listed, this is the last Soulsborne game that I played, and I played it in 2017. This is not like, my god, this is my first Soulsborne game. I played it in I beat it in 2009 and it's my favorite. You know, no nostalgia blinders. Played it in 2017.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I love this shit. And it's like objectively, yes, Dark Souls and Bloodborne mechanically are superior games. And there's a lot less jank and weird, stupid shit. But just on like a thematic level, on an ambience level, on atmosphere, you know, I just dig it a lot. Reactbot, what do you think?
It's giving awesome sauce.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take it. All right. Next up is Sekiro.
Here we fucking go. You're about to piss off
I'm gonna get crucified.
Sweaty fans.
I want to make this abundantly clear with Sekiro. Okay? I have criticisms with it. And it's just because of the fact that I went into it expecting one thing and got something completely different. And also, I hardcore suck at parrying. I can't parry for shit. So when your entire game's combat system predominantly revolves around
literally
parrying,
the whole game. Yeah.
I'm gonna have a bad time. And when your entire game's level up system, when your entire, like, for me also combat is a bit more restrictive because you only have the one katana, you don't have any other weapon options, and you can only level up by beating bosses. So it's really a get good situation. If you're stuck at a boss,
for sure it is.
You have to keep hammering at it. And this is also kind of where things culminated for me about what I mentioned with from Bloodborne on, where like the hitboxes and the targeting is really finicky and it really infuriating. The moment
I will say that this game does have weird like targeting. Yeah, it's true.
Like if it just had a normal level up system, I probably would have liked it a lot more. Right? But yeah, it's a brick wall. And the point, I think it's halfway through the game, the point that I really kind of stopped and I realized this game is not for me was when I got to Genichiro on the roof, when he has that like 3-phase fight and he pulls lightning out of his ass for the first time ever. That shit is just... It wasn't fun
such an epic moment. Yeah.
Now, I did not quit Sekiro. I platinumed it. but I don't.
Oh, no way. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't.
You must have been so mad.
I was. I platinumed it out of spite.
You must have been so fucking mad, dude. Yeah.
But I don't.
Oh my god.
I don't particularly enjoy the game. I'm giving it a C.
Yeah.
It's closer to lower.
Okay.
Like it's not something that I like. It's not something that I personally really enjoy, but it's one of those games where I go, this is just, it's not for me because of the way it's built, but if somebody is into parrying stuff, like they're really good at that, and they're into this sort of thing, they'll probably get a kick out of it, or maybe they'll hate it.
Fans.
Yeah, although I actually hate Ninja Gaiden 1 way more than Sekiro.
Oh, dude, that's literally one of my favorite games of all time.
I know it is.
That's so funny.
It's so bullshit, though. It makes me so mad. And
I love that game so much.
I've beaten that game multiple times too, and I still don't like it. But whatever. It's almost cartoonishly evil in its difficulty. It feels artificial.
Oh, dude, I love it.
You know? But it's not for me.
Sure, you're right.
So again, this is no shade to Sekiro. If you like Sekiro, I understand why. It's just not for me. Maybe one of these days I'll go back and replay it, and it'll click, and I'll be better at parrying. I don't know. But whatever. Anyways, Reactbot, what do you think?
Slay.
Well, thanks.
Slay.
Now,
okay.
You think this opinion was spicy? Demon Souls remake.
PS5 Demon Souls. Okay, get it out in the open. Yeah, that's better than I thought you would say.
That's also why I wanted to save Demon Souls for what it was, to really hammer home it's not nostalgia. So I played these games 3 years apart. Yeah. And fundamentally, it is the same game. But it has a lot of quality of life improvements. But it also has, like, a lot of that atmosphere and the stuff that I described that really resonated with me about the original Demon Souls. Got lost in the remake process, in the effort to make everything as photorealistic as possible, and as modern cutting-edge graphics as possible. Like, the lighting just feels overblown, and it kind of loses some of that. The boss music is, like, now way too overblown and bombastic, and it's the same songs. Even the Nexus music is kind of more overblown and bombastic. Like, it lost a lot of the simplicity of it. It's just like, you gotta make everything as epic as possible.
Like the soundtrack is like rearranged, you mean?
Yeah, it's been like recomposed and rearranged.
Oh, okay, I don't know. Yeah, that makes sense, of course. But all right.
So it's mostly down to personal preferences. Just taste and everything like that. That said, there is one thing I can say about Demon Souls PS5, which is absolute dog shit, and it's the only one of these fucking games that has this issue.
Okay.
You cannot delete a single character file without deleting your entire fucking save.
Whoa, that's insane.
There is no in-game UI to delete a save file.
But I mean, you could have multiple save files.
You can have multiple. Right? You can have multiple characters and multiple save files. Okay. But like, let's say you want to like clear up space because you're like, I'm abandoning this playthrough. Yeah. You can't go back and delete. And I realized that Blue Point Shadow of the Colossus remake had that as well, and it's really
small fry, but man.
And this is also partially due to how Sony handles saves on PlayStation 5, and also how some games handle saves on PS4, where it just bulks everything together. I realized that Final Fantasy VII Remake also doesn't allow you to delete individual save files.
Oh, really?
Which is dumb. Like, you should be able to delete individual files without deleting everything. It's really dumb. But yeah.
It seems like a simple thing.
Also, they got like most of the same voice actors back for Demon Souls, but just in a case similar to like going from Metal Gear Solid to Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, the voice acting is so much flatter and more stilted in the remake
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'll send you an example later, but it's just bizarre.
Yeah, sure.
I don't understand it. Still a good game, and for most people, it's going to be their only way to play Demon's Souls because the PS3 version is locked.
Yeah, it's the remake, of course. Exactly. Yeah.
But still, all right. Reactbot, what do you think of Demon's Souls remake?
We stand a short king.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go with that.
Okay.
Now, I
Now,
expected
this is a big
crucified
one.
for this one.
Uh-oh. Where's it going?
It's going in an A, but I'm still expecting it crucified.
I feel like that's totally fine, though.
It should be, but you never know. For me...
Alright, so why is this, lower than Bloodborne? Yeah.
I am really, really, really burned out and not really a big fan of ginormous open world games.
Yeah, okay.
Elden Ring does it better than most, but also it's still and it has that awe of exploration of I see some cool shit in the distance, I want to run over there, right?
Yeah.
But it also has some of the same problems that other giant open world games have, namely copy-pasted content. And in this case, it's the bosses.
Yeah, a lot of the
dungeons.
dungeons, and yeah, exactly.
Having to fight the Crystallarians 6, 7, 8 fucking times, and the ulcerated tree spirit a bajillion times. It gets old, and it removes the uniqueness of that individual boss encounter. Previous Souls games would have...
that's one of the things that the Soulsborne franchise is touted for.
Yeah.
It's every boss is a unique experience. There's a story to it. It's all
previous Soulsborne games had repeat bosses sometimes, but not to the extent of Elden Ring.
Sure.
Additionally,
of course not.
Additionally,
it's so big. Yeah.
Elden Ring probably would have been closer to a B if I had done this about right after it came out and I beat it. However...
Now you're gonna get nailed.
However...
Cross, boy. It's going down.
However...
The sweaty nerds are coming for you.
On replaying it multiple times, specifically with one of my 3 favorite mods of all time, Seamless Co-op, it gets an A.
Mm-hmm.
Because Elden Ring
that shit seems so fun.
It is so fun.
Dude, the Seamless Co-op looks so fun.
Is the best way. And if I can find Seamless Co-op mods for the Dark Souls trilogy, I'm 100% dragging Cat and Jack and Emu and Greedy and anybody who wants to join me through this shit.
Because for sure.
It's so much fun. I love Seamless Co-op.
Yeah, it looks fun as fuck.
It's great. So yeah, my main criticism is just a lot of it feels too big. And I will say that there's kind of this never-ending escalation of trying to outdo the previous game's difficulty in some respects. And things are starting to kind of get a little ridiculous with Elden Ring. The Millennia boss fight was kind of bullshit.
Dude, I literally spent about a week of real life Ghoul time. I would get home from fucking work and grind and get my face mushed into the dirt. so bad. But I mean, it was epic. That was fun. And I do feel that is such a milestone of the franchise, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, Cam. Get exhausting seeing a cool looking place, you go there and realize you aren't strong enough to be there, and then you go play a dozen hours, come back, and then by the time you're ready, you're not as excited to explore it. Yeah.
That is a valid point, yeah.
And Shadow of the Erd Tree kind of pushed things even more with ridiculous bullshit. I kind of wish they would... I hope after Elden Ring Night Ran, this roguelike Elden Ring thing that's coming out, they scale things back and maybe make a smaller, more intimate Soulsborne experience again.
Mm-hmm.
Metroidvania, I don't know. But yeah, Reactbot, what do you think, Elden Ring?
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Okay. All right. Now, for the 2 bonus ones, and I'm sure that most of the people in chat or whoever view this video have no idea what the fuck Kingsfield is. Kingsfield is FromSoftware's first
the
franchise.
OG shit.
Demon Souls is a spiritual successor to Kingsfield. I have not played Kingsfield 3 and 4, and I have not played Shadow Tower 1 or 2. Otherwise, they'd be on here too. Kingsfield 1. I played this after Kingsfield 2, but unlike the rest of the shit, I'm actually going to go in release order. It's a neat, fun, little, simple dungeon crawler that's not terribly long. It's not terribly in-depth. It's serviceable. Basically, like, you got to go exploring this nearby tomb because, like, your dad went missing and shit, and you got to go stop some demons. It's really simple. If I recall, this is actually the first RPG ever released on the PlayStation. This came out in 1994.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The biggest hurdle, the biggest barrier to entry.
That's a tasty morsel.
For the biggest barrier to entry for this game is the fact that it's Japan only. This is never released in the States. There's an English fan patch online. The second barrier to entry is its control scheme, because these are first-person dungeon crawler games built on a console that at the time didn't have dual analog sticks. This is built for the original PlayStation controller. And I know if somebody's watching both these tier lists back to back, or they've been in the stream the entire time, I'm sure they'll be like, but you criticized Dementium for being a first-person game on the DS. Why aren't you criticizing Kingsfield? The difference is they didn't fucking know any better. Nobody fucking knew any better when making first-person games for consoles in the 90s. They just worked with what they had. We didn't know dual analog stick would be the way of the future. Dual analog stick wasn't even a fucking thing until like 1998. And even then, it still took like 2 years before anybody started fucking using it for like a first-person shooter, which, ironically enough, Ghoul Guts, that was Alien Resurrection on the PS1, as far as I know. That's the first-person game to use dual analog stick shit.
No way, that's cool.
And everybody hated it because it was this weird new control scheme, and everybody's like, this is unplayable. And then the next year, Halo comes out using the same control scheme, and everybody's sucking its dick.
Oh shit!
It's great.
Okay.
I haven't played Alien Resurrection, so maybe it's clunky. I don't know. But the point is, devs didn't know any better. Devs didn't know any better at this era. It's the same thing like when you go back and like play Ye Old Spyro the Dragon for PlayStation 1, and you're like, gotta fucking use the triggers to fucking rotate the camera. It's awkward and weird. Devs didn't know any better. Devs didn't fucking know any better. People know better now. The devs of Dementium should have known better at the time when they were making a fucking first-person game on a goddamn DS. But these devs didn't know.
The DS have a stylus though? It was like a mouse pad or whatever?
It had a stylus, but I mean, at least for me, personally, stylus controls aren't that great, and it's not my thing. But also, it didn't have a single analog stick. So it's a first-person game you're controlling with a D-pad and a stylus. Not the greatest combo. Yeah. Anyways, Ye Olde Kingsfield, super simplistic. It gets a B. It gets a B for B's nuts. Okay. It's fine. Reactbot, what do you think about that?
This feels racist, but I can't explain why.
Fuck you.
Kingsfield, come on.
Alright, so Kingsfield 2, which is also localized in the US. It's the first Kingsfield game to come out in the States. And they pulled a Final Fantasy with this Ghoul Guts because they just called it Kingsfield.
What do you mean?
It was released in the States.
Got it. Like, yeah.
And so Kingsfield 3 in the US, and Kingsfield 3 from Japan is now Kingsfield 2 in the US.
Kingsfield.
Anyways.
Yeah.
This is the first Kingsfield game I played. This is came out a year after this, and the leap in quality and ambition is crazy, my guy. It still has the same control issues, where it's a first-person game on a PlayStation 1, before anybody knew what the fuck they were doing. But narratively, it's a much more interesting game. Mechanically, it's a more interesting game. It has more things to explore, more enemy variety, just more fun stuff. Premise-wise, there's some spooky shit going on in an island, right?
Okay. I love some spooky shit going on an island.
And and a sword from the king gets stolen, and you're like the king's friend, and you're like, hey homie, I'll go check it out, see what's up with this spooky shit on the island, try to get your sword back. And the king's like, thanks, dude. You hop on a boat.
Thanks, dude.
You hop on a boat to head to the island, and a mysterious storm kicks up, and your ship gets fucked up. And when you come to, you're on the island. You got like a dinky old knife and like no armor, and you're stranded there on the island. So your only way off the island is to just explore, solve the mystery to try to get the fuck off the island. Because also there's a bunch of humans, like normal innocent humies, but there's like this cursed water that they've drank, and if they leave the island without having the curse cured, they'll just straight up die. So it's like there's all this mysterious spooky shit going on, and you gotta I like the setup a lot more of just you're being shipwrecked on an island, and you're like forced to, you can't leave, you're forced to explore. Like in Kingsfield 1, if shit hits the fan, hypothetically, I don't remember if he's like sealed in the tomb, but hypothetically he could just get up and leave or whatever. I don't fucking care. Here you're just stuck on this island, and you gotta do shit. And I'm sure you recognize a lot of this premise because it pitched you this premise as something else entirely. Wait, are you there? No, Ghoulguts died. You think he went to sleep?
I muted. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't know that I was muted. But yeah, you did bring that to my attention as something else.
This is an influence for that.
Exactly.
I really like the setup of this. I also didn't play this when it came out, like in the 90s. I played this also in like 2018. And I'm torn on what to give it for, but for the lulz, I'm going to give it an S tier. Why not? Fuck it.
S is crazy. Yeah. Okay, so play Kingsfield 2.
Yeah, I really like it. Again, it's a high barrier to entry. I expect that most people who would play the game would play the controls or see the controls and be like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm out, homie. But if you can get past that, I had a lot of fun with it. It was neat. I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. It was good. I dig it.
Ooh.
Good shit.
Ooh.
Download image. Bazinga. All right. We're done.
Dude,
We're done.
What a journey.
What a journey.
Okay, so
indeed.
before we go, I am curious. What is your favorite FromSoft game? Like across the board.
Let me double check everything that they've made because they have so much fucking shit.
They do have a lot of fucking shit.
Demon Souls is up there, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the GOAT, huh?
Armored Core, I'm very limited on, and I don't have too much nostalgia for the franchise because I played a bit of Armored Core 1 and Project
It's a great series.
I liked them,
Yeah.
but I didn't play a lot of them. I love Armored Core 6 though. Armored Core 6 was a banger. Echo Knight.
Hell yeah.
Echo Knight I fucking adore.
Yeah.
I told you about Echo Knight.
Same.
I fucking love Echo Knight.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I know what my... I haven't played much of it, but I was really digging Otogi. Really want to play more of that.
Dude.
Right. I have found...
Such a hidden gem. It's
I know
a hidden gem.
what my favorite FromSoft game is.
Otogi. Dude, that shit slaps.
My favorite FromSoft game is Metal Wolf Chaos, baby. Let's go.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, you don't know Metal Wolf
Show me.
Chaos? Oh.
No, I do not.
All right. It's a mech game.
What is? I mean, it sounds like it for sure. How do I not know what this is?
This
What
game
the fuck?
was Japan only for a while, which is ironic because this was specifically commissioned by Microsoft as an Xbox game. And FromSoftware went out of their way. Hey, Jeff Yard.
Not me. Nose exhaling.
Hey.
FromSoftware decided to make it as American as possible. It was not published by Square.
Right.
They wanted to make it as American as possible because it was for the Xbox, and then Microsoft passed up on localization. So it's got a lot of jank to it, realistically. Like it's kind of a janky game. But what carries it for me is its narrative being batshit insane, and its unintentional / intentional humor. Okay, let me tell you the premise. Okay, you play as the President of the United States of America, and your Vice President decides to do a coup to overthrow you, to take over the government, and he's backed by the military.
Dude,
you escape
it's
Washington.
A prophecy.
You escape Washington D.C. in a mech, and the only support you have is from like your secretary assistant lady. I forgot her name.
Oh man!
And you have to then systematically
cool.
go across the entirety of the United States and liberate it from your vice president traitor. And towards the end of the game, he hops on a rocket ship and goes into space, and you hop onto that same rocket, and the ending of the game takes place in space. The game is on PC now. It's on PS4 now. This game is batshit insane.
Buying this shit immediately.
It is wonderful, and it has dumb, amazing, over-the-top dialogue and voice acting. And one of my favorite things about it is like your character will keep going like, I need to do this because I am the President of the United States of America. Like it is the most gung-ho patriotic fucking American game ever. It's made by Japan. And it's insane.
Yeah, it sounds funny as fuck.
It's like 50% off on Steam right now, apparently. Again, it's from a gameplay perspective.
I'm buying this shit.
It's not super deep. And it's not as like super customizable as like Armored Core. It's not as in depth. It's not like a mech simulator. What I will say is you do have 4 different guns that are controlled by the triggers, if I recall. But I think Modern Armored Core does that as well. I don't know. Either way, the game is bonkers. I love it, and it is so dumb that because of how dumb it is, this would probably be my favorite FromSoft game. And if you want to go with like a legitimately good one, then it's probably like Demon's Souls or Echo Knight. I would say 3D Game Heroes, but I haven't played as much of that. I did really like 3D Game Heroes, though.
Yeah. Okay.
And then cool. I guess for a meme answer, even though I've never played it, would be The Adventures of Cookies and Cream.
What the fuck?
Oh, you don't know about The Adventures of Cookies and Cream?
No.
Okay.
No,
well,
but it sounds cute.
It is cute as fuck. It's a rated E for everyone, like platformer. I believe the gimmick is that it's a 2-player co-op game, but I think both players use the same controller. I think.
What the fuck?
It's weird. I want to play it at some point.
FromSoft has done some shit.
They've done all sorts of wacky shit. They did Kuon. They did Eternal Night. They did fucking Ninja Blade, which everybody hates. They did.
I fucking loved that game too.
I've never played Ninja Blade.
Oh,
they did Enchanted Arms. They did Chrome Hounds, which is a neat idea, but it kind of died.
I didn't know it was Enchanted Arms too. That's cool.
Yeah, they've done all sorts of wild ass shit. Yeah, they have a huge gamography. It's just the only recent game of theirs that I haven't played that I really wanted to was Derasine, which is directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki. It's the only non-Soulsborne game that he made. In the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's a PlayStation VR game, and I don't have PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is whatever. Anyways.
Who does?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Billionaires, maybe. Anyways, I'm going to send y'all on over to Mystery Science Theater 3000. I will probably be back finishing off Clock Tower Rewind before the end of the year, and then something brand new on January 1st. Ghoul Guts, thank you
Ooh.
for joining me. It's not new to me, but it's
man.
just a non-horror game, and it's a new playthrough of something. It's gonna be good.
Nice. All right, dude. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun chatting, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for stopping by and listening to me rant about bullshit. Y'all have a good night there. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.